folks, we're going to talk NASCAR. We got NASCAR a minute. We got Daytona and Darlington to talk about. We got baseball to get into and college and NFL football. But right now, we're going to talk NBA basketball where the number one seeds. The number one seeds are 0-4 right now, guys, in the second round. So, Hunter, on our Sports Talk show, I gave you the opportunity to pick game one winner, Heat and Bucks, and you actually felt good about the Heat and won. And I said, well, if they win one, do they win the series? And you said, maybe.
I did say maybe. I will agree that I said maybe, and I still would take the Bucks. I'm not going to sit here and say, nope, I knew the Heat were going to do this from the beginning.
Right.
Because
he still thought it would be 4-1, I think. Is what
3 out of the 4 people in here took the Bucks.
Are you sure I did?
Are
you sure I did?
I'm pretty sure.
He took Toronto.
I actually did not pick this round. Remember, I just said I'm picking the finals.
I did take Boston.
But it is still, of course, we know
Boston.
But you guys had Milwaukee and Indiana in this series, so we can't really throw too many pats on the back here.
I didn't.
Terry,
you did.
I did have.
I didn't.
I did have.
Terry, you and Tom had Indiana.
I did.
Winning. I did. Beating the Heat in round one. So
and then the Heat's never being beat.
Now the Heat's 3. He had lost
Let me
go.
Expert
let me go ahead and speak to that. Just Jimmy Butler has been incredible.
How about that? Yeah,
just been incredible. I mean, both sides of the ball, and he's just really laser focused for whatever reason. He's laser focused, and he's leading that team. And they were analyzing him a little bit, and there's a little bit of Jordan in him, Kevin. It's in other words, some people don't like him. Because he will call you out.
Yes, he will.
That was they didn't like him in Minnesota when he got traded there. They didn't like him in 76ers.
He called the guy out that had the camera on him last night.
Yeah.
Move that camera. Yeah. And then he got explicit about what he was telling him.
And then once you have a group of guys that will follow a guy like that, now you're good.
The guy they spoke to after the game, what was his name?
I didn't see that.
Oh,
I didn't see it.
Name of the other one of the starter. Hit a 3 from the corner. For them
was
today.
it Duncan Robbins?
No, not Robbins. It was another guy. I cannot remember his name.
Just go ahead.
But anyway, he sat there, and when they started talking to him, he acted like Butler, talking to the media.
Oh, yeah. And Jimmy Butler right now seems to be infectious when it comes to Miami. Miami fit him perfectly because what he said when he was with Minnesota after he got traded to Chicago, and the same thing with Philadelphia is they were soft, like they didn't know how to win right now. And Eric Spoelstra is a proven winner. I know he had Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron, but he's still proven that he's still proven that he can coach. And they've got a lot of dogs on that team. They got a lot of guys that are not afraid to scrap and get up in possibly 2-time MVP Giannis's face, Defensive Player of the Year Giannis's face. They're not afraid of him. When I had 2 reasons why I thought Miami could at least make this series difficult. I will, again, reiterate, I did not see them going up 3-0 on Milwaukee at all. I thought them maybe taking this 5 or 6, but I thought Milwaukee would be better. And the reason why I had that one Miami would make this tough, first one, I'm just going to keep it plain and simple. I think overall, not just talking Giannis versus Jimmy, overall, I think Miami has the better roster. I think they do.
I agree.
I think they have the more consistent players, and they obviously have the more consistent 3-point shooting. And Tyler Herro, Robinson, Jay Crowder, Dragic. I mean,
Crowder is really. I was going to say Crowder's really played well. Yeah.
Then the other thing, and I heard somebody speak on this yesterday after the loss. I'd said this twice this week on our show. I don't know mentally if Milwaukee is still in this.
They're not.
I don't.
Look, they broke down. I was watching the halftime show. They had your boy on there, Draymond Green. I know Terry was so happy, he probably DVR'd it and played it back.
I did. Right. I've watched it 4 times.
But he said, look at Milwaukee's offense.
Mm-hmm.
They stand there.
They don't look the same.
Then he showed it again. He says, here's Milwaukee's offense again. And maybe Lopez would step out from the 3-point line into the paint, but not like a sharp cut.
We've not gotten there yet.
Set.
I watched the Lakers and thought the same thing last night about their offense. But but Milwaukee, I mean, I said it Monday and Wednesday. I don't know if their hearts and their heads are still in it. I don't know if emotionally they're still here. Because George Hill said he would want to play. So it's like George Hill. Whenever they first boycotted, he came out and said, I don't want to play. So mentally, I don't know if they're still there. The only one that I won't question is Giannis. But how many?
Really?
But even now, they're playing basically wall defense on Giannis. They're going to get in his face, but they're putting 2 or 3 in the paint so that he can't get to the paint.
But they're getting by with it because nobody's moving.
Well, I'm going to tell you something else going to happen to him. Is the coach is about ready to get fired. You talking about Nate McMillan and all them getting fired?
He's not making any adjustments.
This guy's going to get fired because somehow or another last night he decides to put Giannis on Butler, and Butler took him straight to the hole and then turned to them like he can't guard me. You know? And I'm like, this is your defensive player of the year.
But but he like when I watched him a couple times, he seems to every once in a while have a problem putting the ball on the floor. You know what I mean? Yep. And I saw him out there trying to shoot threes. He's really struggling. I think he had 7 points in the first half last night. Shooting was struggling. So, I'm a fan of Giannis. Because I think he's really, really great. But he was really struggling. I would have liked to see Milwaukee play better. But I'm going to tell you, in what I've seen, even the announcer was saying these guys' body language right now is awful.
Yeah,
and you could see that.
So, a couple of thoughts from me on this as far as the matchups go. Giannis and Middleton had 39 combined points last night. You need, 50, 60 from your two?
You can't do that.
From your two big guys. Is Middleton a quality number 2? Is he?
No.
Is he a good 3?
He's a role player.
Wouldn't he be a really good 3?
Can I interject here? Because Terry's boy, Draymond Green, said Milwaukee can win the game if Middleton's their top scorer.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yes, they can.
No.
I'm going to tell you what the problem is with Middleton. I think too many people are talking to him. And you know how daggum Miami's playing. They're talking crap while they're playing. Yeah. And I think too many people are talking to him, and he has took his own self out of the game.
Well, I
think that's everybody from Milwaukee right now.
I just don't think Middleton can carry them if Giannis is shut down. I think there's evidence to that.
Right.
There's evidence to that.
So you really need 2 All-Stars that can get you 25 a game to win in the playoffs. So looking at their roster, I thought they're not going to win the championship this year. I didn't know who was going to knock them out and win, but I thought someone would. Giannis, to me, here's a comparison, a cross-sport comparison. See what you think, Terry. He's almost the Cam Newton of basketball, where Cam's completion percentage holds them back as far as Giannis's three-point percentage holds them back. But they're super freak athletes now that you can't guard. And, again, in the regular season, preparing for Cam is different than preparing for him in the playoffs. You don't always prepare. Same thing with Lamar Jackson and running quarterbacks. You don't always prepare for that type of offense. Everyone in the NBA is jacking up threes. Yes. You play Milwaukee, it's bully ball. It's the big guys are coming to the lane. Giannis and Lopez is down low, and they shoot some threes, and Lopez hit the most threes on the team last night.
He's the most consistent three-point shooter they got.
You're talking about who's reliable. George Hill don't want to be there. Marvin Williams is coming off the bench. He's not reliable. And then Korver got nothing. Connaughton got nothing. So, to me, they're not a championship squad. And Giannis needs a good second guy.
They're not a championship squad, but they got a championship caliber player.
Right.
How many minutes did Korver play?
5.
5 minutes. So think of that. If he played 5 minutes, had no points, how many shots did he take?
1.
He took 1. This is a guy who is one of your best three-point shooters on your team, and he's never in the game.
In the history of the NBA.
Yeah.
They were one of the best in the history of the NBA.
11 of 37 from threes last night, so they missed 28 three-pointers in that game and lose by 15.
They really only had 8 players with significant minutes. And when they get blown out, guys, fourth quarter.
They lit. The Heat scored 40.
They got blown out.
Yeah, 40 to 13.
So regular season basketball, dealing with Giannis, you might get beat. That's not your regular defense. It's not your regular offense running against them. But when you come in a series and you're, we're going to attack this guy. We're going to guard this.
Do you know what one of the craziest things is that I found out last night? Because I wasn't paying attention to it. Me and my buddy were watching the Lakers-Rockets game, and we were talking about the Heat Bucks game. And he said, I bet you didn't know this, but Bill Simmons, when the playoffs started, he placed a bet that the finals was going to be Clippers-Heat.
Yeah. Well, you knew something.
I mean, it might. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but
here's a stat for you, Hunter.
It looks crazy that it might happen.
Here's a stat for you: 40-13.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So,
40 points
against the number one team.
Wow.
Overall record in the NBA.
So two things you really don't want happening, but we'll see. You don't want your point guard being your leading scorer. As far as your leading ball handler being your leading scorer, I don't think that leads to good things. Also, Terry, I'm not that big of a fan of Giannis. He's the defensive player of the year, but is he actually that for his rebounding, or is that for his actual playing defense on something?
Playing defense underneath.
So do you need him?
I mean, he's a block machine, but right
you
now
cannot have him come out and guard Butler. That's crazy.
So what I'm saying is that you also don't want Terry, your leading scorer, to be your number one defender. While Jordan could guard everybody, they still sent Pippen and Rodman as the number one defender to waste that energy. You don't want your number one scorer wasting energy guarding.
But now the problem with that one was Jordan would always say, I want to guard that guy.
Right. Yeah. And then so Kobe was probably the best defender on those Lakers teams. But he had a monster standing behind him. And then when Shaq left, he had 2 7-footers standing behind him. So, it's really hard for the leading scorer to be the best defender on the team or the primary ball handler. Using any energy you use when that team relies on you so much, as far as Giannis is really tough on that guy.
Giannis on any other team, his field goal percentage is higher, and it's still already high because he always gets his point at the basket. But what I mean by that is he won't have to take mid-range shots that he's not good at or 3-point shots because he'll just have more efficient looks if he's on a team that has the shooters around him. And I hate people don't want to think about it, but if he was on Golden State,
what about Houston?
Or
he's
Houston.
The tallest person on Houston.
He would be the tallest person on Houston. But you don't have to ask him to shoot threes. You just say get open or put your back to the basket where you dominate.
Now to speak to that, I kind of heard the tail end of it. That they were talking about Giannis going somewhere else. Did you hear that little bit of conversation?
That was in it because they was talking about the coach being fired and then him leaving.
Yeah, he was talking about him going somewhere
else.
Think
about that. I want you to think about that.
Whoever would pick that up would be an immediate contender.
You have the best record in the NBA, and you're getting ready to probably fire your head coach. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean it's a dog-eat-dog
world.
But
last week I said in here and said, because we fired Nate McMillan and all them on kind of all this going on, and I said that you shouldn't fire anybody because this is a whole different aspect being in a bubble than you playing at home and away.
It's another thing too, where it's like you got to look at it like this too. I'm firing him. Who am I replacing him with? Who is there that you're gonna bring in? Look what Brooklyn just did. Yeah. Brooklyn just brought in Steve Nash, and I'm fine with the hire. I think Steve Nash should probably do very good.
It was controversial. There was controversial.
The only reason it's controversial is because it shouldn't have been controversial.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Somebody, and I'm not going to say his name, but decided to pull the race card when there was no reason to pull the race card.
But do you really think they're going to hire a coach without going to Durant and Irving and say, "Is this what y'all want?"
That's exactly.
I mean, it's not. There's no doubt in my mind that's what happened. Because, we're going to bring Steve Nash in here, and this could create controversy because of the situation. I mean, the guy's a perennial all-star and 2 MVPs.
But now flip it,
he's got the
and
resume.
We'll look at Milwaukee. If they get rid of their head coach and Giannis isn't there, then who are they bringing in? They can just bring in anybody at this point. Yeah. But does that mean Milwaukee's still a championship caliber team? No. So who's really going to be lined up to be like, yes, I want that job out of your top prospects?
I think what someone you would hope, as far as if you don't want Giannis to leave, is the Milwaukee people. Giannis is 25 years old.
He's a baby.
Jordan didn't win until he was 28. I think LeBron was 27.
That's something else people don't realize because when you think of that, he's 25.
Yeah, he's got plenty of time.
Giannis is 1 year older than me. He's 1 year older than me.
Really, Terry. So in essence, if you're Giannis, you're going to be a free agent. If you stay in Milwaukee, you can surround yourself with shooters. Shooters are easy to get more cheaply than it is, studs like Giannis. So, yes, he probably needs a second guy that can get 25, but he also needs more shooters around him, which they don't have right now. And it's. I think we're so blind by how good he is. He's carrying them by how good
his back has to be hurting.
If I'm picking any of these guys, looking on I'm not picking any of these dudes
to go play ball with.
No, I just ain't picking